thinking about sponsoring more. I sponsored kids. I sponsored quite a few kids around the world through the Child Fund and through World Health, World Child Fund. And what's the other one? Oh, there's another one. There's a world one. I can't remember. There's a World Child Fund. Anyway, I sponsored kids around. I was thinking of getting some more kids, sponsor some more kids in the world. Yeah, I was actually thinking of sponsoring some, see if there is any in Bali and sponsor some kids here. Because you can. And make it change, and make some help for the kids in the world that are struggling to eat. Who are struggling to eat. I just find that remarkable. I find it remarkable in America. There's all these homeless people. In a country with all that wealth and all that money. Just it's mind-boggling how that happens. But and then you go to, here's political for it, and then you go to China and everybody's fed. There's no homeless people. I'm not saying socialism is right because there's a control factor that happens with that. But at least everybody's eating. At least everybody's got a house. Bizarre. I did a study on socialism, and it's been tried every time it's ever been tried in the world. It's never worked. The concept is right about everybody being free and everybody having $1 million and everybody having everything. The problem is who controls that. And that's the one that's every time it's happened, that's the part that's been the problem. Because somebody's in control of that. And when they get control of that, that's when the problem starts. And every single time, it's always the same thing that happens. The socialism idea, but it's the people controlling that because they get power crazy. Every time. It's like the Stanford experiment. They just can't stop people being people. Give them the power, give them the control. They just can't help want to mess with other people. I just love it. They just doesn't work. But the concept's right, but it just doesn't work because of the control. You'd have to get somebody that is not like that as a leader in a whole government, all of them not like that. And I don't know if you can get that many people together in one room that wouldn't do that. A very unique soul that has that way they look at the world and that caring for other people. They'd have to be really, really honest themselves about not wanting anything for themselves, about helping everybody. And there are some beautiful people in the world that's definitely trying to do this. They're generally not politics. Enough. It's a strange world we live in, isn't it? It's a strange life. We wake up every morning and try and make some sense of it. And I don't know if you can make sense of it. I don't think there is such a thing. Anyway. Anybody else? Any comments? I've got a hand up. Who's got the hand up? Robin. Good morning, Robin. How are you today?
I'm very good, thanks.
Yeah, good to see you.
How are you, Peter?
I'm very good, thank you.
Right. I was going to ask, and then you answered what I was thinking. For me anyway. Maybe some little tools about how to access, how to be able to inquire into what these, past things have been, and you kind of brushed on that anyway. But I have a question about: is there we have our thoughts, and that there are thoughts based on experience. What about maybe intergenerational kind of experiences or things like that?
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but maybe past life, intergenerational, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So in theory, you have that going as well. So in your DNA that you have from your mum and your dad, in theory, you have, until you were conceived, from all of your mum's experiences goes into the egg, the time of her giving birth to you went into the egg. So she was 20 years old when she gave birth to, or she formulated you, because you still carry her DNA experience-wise. She's still carrying it until you're born, and they cut the cord. Then you're on your own. But before that, you're still influenced by what's going on with your mum. All her memories, everything else is still going into your DNA through the blood until you actually cut the cord, and then you're alone. It's like you build the ship, and then all of a sudden you set the ship afloat. Now the ship's yours, but until then, you still have influence. So then you'll have that, and depending on how old your dad was, and say the easy one, they're both 20, and so you have 20 years of your dad's experience in the sperm, because if he had sperm at 60, that sperm has a different consciousness than it did when it was 20, because it had another 40 years of experience. So that DNA in the sperm has a lot more experience, which goes into the child. And then the same thing with the mother. So depending on when you're born, you get 20 years and 20 years of both of them, and you have their learning and their experience inside you. If only there was just the two of them, it'd be great. But you have their parents as well, both your mum and your dad's, and both your mum and your dad's. And you have whatever age they were when they gave birth to you, you have their experience of their life between that and you as well. And you go back another one, their parents and their parents and their parents. I think you go back to seven generations, 256 people. 256 people, you have their DNA memory of their 20 years of life in you. Yeah, good luck to trying to work that one out. So you can imagine there's all those thoughts and all those experiences are in you. And that's why I think sometimes you'll react when you do something, you go, oh, where did that come from? That never happened in my life. And I don't think I've ever seen my mum and my dad do it. So this comes from somewhere else. I don't even know where it was. It's just, that's irrational. But it's still there. Or you have a thought that's way out of this, and you have dream states that take you back into different realms. And you go, well, this is a myriad of things going on with us. So what I did, of course, because I want to be clean from all of that, because I don't want to be influenced by it, I want to have my experience without that, I went back and found the folders. I went back and find my father's folder, my mother's folder. Yep. And I've kept my experience of my memories with my mother and father in my folders because I want to keep my experience of them. But their experiences of their life with their parents before that, I'm not interested. It's not mine. And then by cutting that, I cut the grandparents, the great-grandparents, I cut them all off. So all I have is my experience with my parents. That's it. Wrong, right, or different. I have that because they're part of who created me, brought me in the past. So I have just those, and everything behind it's gone. Delete, recycle bin, deprogram, CC cleaner through my computer. And when you do it, it's a miraculous thing happens. You go, and you feel so much lighter. It feels like all this stuff's just gone, and there's no attachment to it. And you go, oh, I'm back to being just me having my experience, without all the influence of all that stuff. Do you really want it? It's busy enough as it is, let alone having to deal with all that as well. And so I totally agree. I think we carry it all. We carry all that information up until you were born, when you break from that tie. But remember that they've got their parents in them as well. So the theory is we carry all of it. Our computer program just keeps. We get a new computer program, but it has the same one. So when you get an upgrade from Apple, I'll use any upgrade from Windows, what's your one you use? It uses all the original program filing. It uses it and adds the new programs to it, and it builds on it because it's already got an operating system. It might change a few of them, but a lot of it stays the same. So as an adult, you're getting the same program that your parents gave you and their grandparents gave you, and you just keep adding more to it. And so you just get upgraded to your experience of life, upgrades your program, but you've also got their original programs running in you. And so how far back that goes, you're going to have all of that. I mean, that's only 7 generations. If you make it 8 generations, it's 512. Funny enough, see the numbers? The 256, 512. You hear how much our storage chips are? We used to have 256 megabyte chips, and we had 512 megabyte chips. Isn't it interesting that it's the same figure? And then we have those people inside ourselves. I didn't make this shit up. Somebody way flashing at me made this up. It's just clever how it all fits together with the numbers. Anyway, but that's what you were talking about. I think was it Robin? It's about that. And so part of that is how you break. Well, that's how you get rid of it. Just delete it. Do you really need it? Do you need the memories of your great grandfather? Do you really want it? No, probably not. Is it any use to you now? Probably not. I think you've learned enough now to already know what's going on. And part of it's about trying to get free from all the mind things to be free. And the conscious, all of that just clouds it up even more stuff like that. Anyway, that's only my experience. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is my experience. And you can always try it and see what it's like. You could always delete it and have it in a hard drive. And if you don't like it not be there, you can put it back. If you really want to. or not. I did a Qi Gong class. I don't know whether, Robin, where you were in the Qi Gong class one day, and I got everybody to their mind and their thought. I got them to unscrew their head, take their head off, and put it down on the ground beside them, and then sit here with no head, no mind, or mindlessness in the stillness, and just experience life without that thing running, without that program running, and just have the experience of the physical body without that. And we walked around the class without the head. It was bizarre. I said, when I walk around, make sure you don't kick anybody's head on the way we were walking around. And so we went back and stood in the side. I said, well, you can put it back on if you want it. And they're looking down at me, all they were going, oh no, do I have to? Do I have to put it back on my head? Do I have to put it back on my shoulders? Do I really want all that shit back again? Because you had an experience beyond mind. It's weird. It was weird. It was like your consciousness was walking around, not your mind. And it was a very unique. I haven't done that. It's interesting to come up now. I did it. I've only ever done it once in a class. I might do it again. I might do it in the 200 hours. The 200-hour level 2 we're doing in March. I might do it then. It'd be interesting.
As long as we all put our proper heads back on afterwards.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, don't put somebody else's on, exactly. You know which one yours is. You look at it because you know, oh, yeah, that's mine. All those bloody thoughts, and you put it back on and you go, oh, no. And they said, yeah, but how do you stay in the present moment with it? And your mind's useful, don't get me wrong, because the mind's really useful. We have a mind for a reason. We have a computer for a reason. But we could also turn the computer off. Well, the problem is with our mind, we can't. We haven't learned how to, or I should say can't. Some of us haven't learned how to do it yet, but you can turn it off. You can just shut the desktop. But it's still running on the bottom, so you actually got to shut it off. Otherwise, you flip it up, it's still running, isn't it? You can just turn it off and turn it back on when you want it. And our boot up of our mind's really quick. You know how you have that bar runs across as it boots up on a computer? Because it only has so many gigs of memory and RAM and the power in your computer. Our mind way flasher than that. It just goes, turn it on, it's on instantly. Just goes across, like that bar doesn't last a millisecond. It reboots itself really fast. It's not as though you have to turn it on and wait for a while for your mind to kick in. It kicks in way faster than that. It just comes instantly back from consciousness, poof, bang, back into mind. Anyway, Robin, was that interesting to talk about that?
That's good. I'm going to remind you about that too.
Remind you? Don't you feel like that?
Yeah.
I like your joke. Yeah, well, true. And remind me about, are you coming to the 200 hours? Are you coming to the
Yeah.
level? Oh, Paul, please do, yeah, because I'll probably forget by then, and let me know about that. That was an extraordinary experience of walking around in consciousness without your mind. What we might do is put them on the side so people don't think they're walking over other people's minds. You can put them on the chairs around the outside, and so you know where your mind is and go back and get it if you want it. But the experience of walking around in consciousness without it was extraordinary. But the funny part was people not wanting to put it back on. Not wanting to put it on. Oh no. Yeah, interesting. Whoever created this model, this model of existence with a physical body and a mind and consciousness and the spirituality thing and pain and suffering and sickness and all the rest of the thing as well. What an extraordinary experience we have as human beings on this planet. Extraordinary experience for everything that's alive in this planet. That's bizarre. Extraordinary experience for a tree. It's just mind-boggling, the complexity of it. And the thoughts and the ideas of who we perceive ourselves to be and what's important and what's not important and what everybody thinks differently. Everybody's totally different. There's no two people the same. It's an extraordinary experience or experiment. Depends what way you want to look at it. It could be experiment. We might all be aliens having this experience. Who knows? I'm open to anything. I don't know. I have all my theories, but they're just theories. Anyway, anybody else like to? Thanks, Robin. Do you want to say anything more, Robin? I didn't want to cut you off. Yeah, thank you for that input. I'll remind you. I like it. Remind. So there's a passage in the this keeps coming. There's a passage in the Bible that talks about Jacob. I think it was Jacob watching the angels going to and fro from heaven. walking to and fro from heaven, being able to be on this planet and being connected to heaven. And I believe this idea of consciousness mind is there's those two options where you can be in consciousness, which is connected to the source consciousness, and you can be in your mind here, and that's coming back to the planet being in your mind, or you can be in that one. But I don't think you have to leave to be conscious. I think you can have consciousness here without having to leave. And you don't have to be in a dream state. You don't have to be in a meditation. You can actually have consciousness here in the present moment, and you don't have to go anywhere. And your mind, you can actually have this. Your mind can stop. It can stop thinking, and you can be in the present moment. I believe you can do that. I've had glimpses of it, so that's why I know you can. If only I could do it. If I could do it like that, switch it on and off, would be great. But haven't quite got to that stage. Ask me another 50 years, I'll tell you how close I've got to it. Well, hopefully it's not going to. No, I shouldn't say that because I was just limited to myself 50 years. Ask me next week. Because if I say 50 years, it'll take 50 years, won't it? I go, oh, that's too long. Okay, change that mind. Next week. Ask me next week how it goes. Human being. Just we obviously signed up for this somewhere before we came here. Our soul decided to come here to have this experience. I mean, who do we talk to? Who do we make the arrangement with? How can we pick this body? How can we pick our parents? I mean, if our soul is energetic, our soul's not physical. It chose to be in this model. It chose to have these experiences. Did you really want all that shit? I think in my life, did you really want all that to happen or not? Or is that? But I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for that experience. It's the same with the experience in hospital. What you got from that was extraordinary. And so you can't get that experience without that. Otherwise, you never got it. And it had to be big enough so that you could have the experience. And so to have some of these big experiences, there's a bit of suffering that's got to happen. Suffering, I shouldn't say suffering, but sometimes it seems like it's suffering. Because sometimes it's not suffering. It's just experience. The suffering is because of what we think suffering is. Our mind's idea of what's suffering and what's actually good for you. Because it's not the way we think it should be, then it could be suffering, but maybe it's just what it is. It's not suffering at all, it's just what it is. It's a vehicle to take you into the experience. Very cool. Anyway, any more? It's a great day. I'm in a chatty mood today. That's great. Happy today. I woke up with this new idea this morning. I found this really light feeling that everything's fantastic today, and I just changed the story I had yesterday about the money thing. It just doesn't matter. No more story, no more negative story. Just have whatever you want, and no more story that if I get a lot of money, I had a story. Another story. The other part of that story, I haven't shared it with you. The other part of the story was I had a story running that if I got lots of money, that I would just go out and spend it and buy flash cars and boats and houses and everything else and do the thing in life that I've never been able to do because I never had enough money to do it. And my fear was that was what I was going to do. I was going to lose my journey into my own consciousness and myself and who I really am, which is through meditation, doing nothing. And I was just going to get caught up in the world doing all the possession things. I was going to go and live in the flash restaurants and stay in hotels, and I'm going to go and do the world thing that I've never been able to do because I never had money to do it. That I was going to go and do that. That was my fear. That's the story I had. My fear that I would do that if I had lots of money. So guess what's not going to happen? I'm not going to get any money because I have that story running. And so I just deleted the story and said, okay, because I know I won't do. I know I won't do that. I might buy a new motorcycle because I like motorcycles, but I'm going to be more. I'm going to help more people with them. I'm going to use it to help other people. And the more money you have, the more you can help. And that's the way I was thinking. I go, look at that. But the other story was not that. The other story was more money. I'm just going to go and get caught up in the world. I'm going to get caught up in the world of the material world and get caught in that because I've never had that experience. And maybe I can have the experience, but it's not going to change me wanting to help people and financially support people, whatever it is. I just changed that today, and I woke up with a different feeling today. It feels great to share that with you. So ask me next week how it's going. I don't know. theory's great. But that's right. But I feel like that today, so it's a nice feeling to have today. Yeah, yeah. The other world doing that, whatever that looks like. Any last thoughts? We've wrapped it up today, and we said what we need to say. Anybody else like to say anything? Cool. Well, there you go. So some of you I know I'll see this afternoon in the monastery class. We have a special monastery class to teach monastery Qi Gong exercise this afternoon, but that's for people who have done the 200-hour training. So some of you I'll see, and some I won't see. And we'll keep next month. We've got what's the subject for next month? I have a really fascinating subject for next month. Well, it came to me. In a minute. It's very cool. I like that one too. I can't remember one. I should actually remember it. I'll write it in this one. I'll write it in what the next month's going to be, so you see what it is. I don't want to misquote exactly what it is. I know the thing, but I can't remember how I worded it. I'll write it in the end of this one what next month's is. I like these things because it provokes thought. the things that we're trying to stop, it provokes thoughts, but then it provokes thoughts about not thinking. It's crazy. It's like using social media, I use Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and things to promote my courses, and then people come to my courses, and then I tell them how dangerous it is to use that stuff. I said, I'm a fraud. The thing that I think you shouldn't use that shit, but then I use it to get people to come to the courses, to tell them not to use it. I mean, how crazy is that? I'll own it. I'll own it. I do this. It's the thing that I use. It's because that's where people are. So it's intriguing and then tell them how bad it is for you. Anyway, well, not bad. It's not bad. It's just that all these mediums, Instagram, Facebook, they want your time. They want time of your life, and they're making money from your time. They don't care what you watch. They just want you to watch because then they make money. So they're after your time. They're after minutes of your life. They're scouring minutes of your life off you. And I refuse to give them my life. I refuse to give them hours of my life. I'm not going to let them have it. I want to spend my hour doing something else. But it's difficult. And then I go and use it to get people to come to the course and stuff. I'm a hypocrite. I'll own that. I'm a hypocrite. Anyway, have a beautiful day. And wherever it is in the world, it's a Saturday here. If it's a Sunday, could be something. In America, it'll be Sunday. But have a beautiful day today. And thank you for your input. And it's been a pleasure to spend some time with you. And we'll see you all next week, next month, should I say? We might see you this after tomorrow.